I am hitting the start streaming button here, and hopefully that will come out live with you pretty promptly. So just waiting for the heads up. It tells me I've gone live, so good morning. I'm Matt, and welcome to today's RC Coffee Chat. Let's pause for a moment for a quick sip. And I see the biggest spider climbing up my wall. Right, let's get on to topic. Only a handful of topics for you this morning, and we should really do the full screen, shouldn't we? There we go, that's a little bit better. Only a handful of topics for us to cover this morning. And the reason for that is that I've had a big dose of can't be iced assness, if that makes any sense. I've not really done anything at all in the last week, including I've not done any RC modelling. It's all over on the workbench, really at all. And I haven't been out flying either. However, that's all about to change because it looks like we're slope sawing on Thursday, Friday's a flying day, Saturday's a family day, and then Sunday is the FunnyFarm day. So, I've got a whole weekend starting early of flying, of shenanigans about to start. So I'm really looking forward to that. So happy days, the sound is good. None at all, Lauren, as well. And by the way, you can see that there's a live chat going on down the right-hand side of our screen. Right, let's get into today's topics. Topic number one is a brand new model. This is a new version of an existing model, which isn't actually available yet. And we'll explain why in a few moments' time. But she is sat here right next to me right now, and we'll talk about that one in a moment. We'll talk about the screw-up from FrSky. They've managed to drop a bollock again. We'll explain what. Well, I'll explain why I think they've dropped a ball again on that one. Also, we have new foam here. We had a bit of deficit of foam. I know at the beginning of the year it did feel like there was hardly anything new kicking around, but things are really picking up pace. I've got a brand new model here, and also Mr. Parcelforce is due to be with me this morning, and I've also got some other models on the way to me, and I'll explain what those are later. We will talk about the Prime Jet Poo, which is down there. The missus is not that impressed that she's had to cut it half apart to try and fit it together. She was not in a good mood. Of course, she's been following the instructions, and the instructions are fantastic. And we'll also be talking about an RC car as well. So let's get into topic number one. Right. Topic number one. Many of you, and let me just go and get the screen up here, and let me go and change the screen, and then we'll have a chit chat about the phone. Right. Many of you may remember the Hornet video from last year. So the Hornet FPV wing, which I've got, there's one up there already set up, and there's another one which I was putting on and having in it, which didn't work, so I've got a spare Hornet up there. The Hornet little wing was a little 600mm wing, and it was dirt cheap at 25 quid, and we had great fun with them last year. And I made this little video on it saying the best FPV flying wing for 2017, and I genuinely meant it that morning. I still remember that morning. It was absolutely beautiful morning, and then just darting in and around the trees, and then going through the V as well, down at the bottom. It was just a fantastic experience. So I have been, and probably always will be, a big fan of the Hornet wing. Now, there is some good news. One of the downsides, actually, to the Hornet wing was the size of the battery which you could carry in it, because it's only like a little small 600mm wing, size of a Bonsai or a pop wing, and the amount of battery which you could load in it was always a concern. And also, just like a practical point of view, is that I remember when Stu was making his, is that people seem to struggle with the battery placement. We had like people were putting like batteries on the top and then cutting it out. And I always remember looking at someone else's model going, you gonna fly that? And just looking at the state of it. So I think Rob, which I got his name completely wrong in the Revenge review. I've been chatting to him via email, and anyway, he's been and sent me, and I want to stress this like straight from the off. This is a development model, and also just to make sure that there's no holes held back, if that makes sense. Any review is critical of it. I've actually paid for the model as well, and that's one thing which I feel like is really important. Like it's if you get something for free, it doesn't really matter. It does bias you to some degree or another, unless you have other things going on, like Sir Bruce, for example. And we're telling this definitely straight. But for me, I do really feel that the paid part really does bias a review of a model. And that's the one thing which I want to be able to do, is provide really good constructive feedback on this one, because the Hornet one was so good. So this is the issue, is that what do we have? There was a model which we here had the other day, and the version 1 was absolutely fantastic. Oh, the Bonsai, wasn't it? We had a Bonsai. The original Bonsai was an absolutely brilliant model, and they created the Bonsai 2, and a Bonsai 2 is supposed to, when you have a newer version, it's supposed to improve upon everything which has gone before, and the Bonsai 2 was not an improvement. It was not a step forwards at all. And that unfortunately showed in the collection of videos which we had out for that one. So the Hornet 2, I genuinely do hope it is going to be a step forwards. There's one thing which I really do like about this, and I'll get the foam up on your screen. So if I pop that up on the screen, is that one thing which I really like already is that there's the hole there cut for the battery. Now, obviously that hole's not going to be perfect for every single battery which you may use in it. But I can tell you, I'm already thinking of 1300 or 1500 4S pack to fit in there, so it will need some widening. But that said, if I turn it round, you'll be able to see that there is a limit to the size of the battery which you can fit in this model, and that limit is actually done by the wing spars which have been trench cut in the back, and that's not lining up. There you go, that lines up now, and you'll see those trench lines go across here, and then down the leading edges. Is that will limit the size of the battery. Now, there's a couple of things which I'm already thinking. Number one, I don't think the hole here is big enough, but I'm not going to cut mine to begin with. I think probably the best thing for me to do is actually build this one, and I would definitely put another piece of carbon down here underneath the motor mount, just something which I've learned from mine. And one thing which I would definitely be doing is leaving this U shape as it is to begin with, and then seeing what the effect is. Now, there's a whole bag of other stuff which has been included there. Again, typical Flying Wings kit. You get the hard balsa elements on it. Now, I need to get the little bits out. I've only literally just sneaked in there and I had a nose, and you're catching me literally raw this morning because I had a quick nose last night, and that's as far as I got. They've gone for a plywood and foam centre section nose, if that makes sense. If I can get this around and poke that in there, so you can have a nose. See, it's not working out too well, is it? There we go. So if I put that on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about, it's a piece of EPP foam in the middle, plywood either side, which, as much as I moaned about on the original one, and the amount of times I've broken it in the original one, it does kind of work alright. So you end up with this nose section. I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold all this there. Well, there you go. So you end up with this little flat nose section. Now, keep that flat nose section in the back of your mind, and also look, it also keeps the centre section off. That's like the little unique part for the Hornet wing, is having this little fuselage section. One thing which I did do on my little Hornet, my original Hornet wing, is that what I've done is I've put an OSD board and I've dug it in. So there's a little OSD board in there. Of course, you could stick iNav in there potentially, but I just did a little real AC board in there, so I actually get a current sensor. So you'll see if I flip back to that screen, you'll see that I've got the model name, I got the voltage, the at current being used, flight time, and milliampere used in that corner. And that works for me really, really well, because I had an issue originally with the Hornet wing, which was that I kept on flying it and it'd fall out the sky with a flat battery. So that's a little Hornet wing. There was one very curious thing. There was definitely one thing which I really didn't like, and I'll get to that in a moment. But one thing I did think was pretty cool is that it does come with a little 3D printed nose. There's no way that's going to come out on that camera, and my hands are covered in spray paint. Remember that yellow spray paint? It will make sense in a couple of days' time. So that's not coming out very well, but cameras are too good at picking up faces. There we go. But there's a little 3D printed nose on the front. I'll take a decent photograph and stick it in the Facebook group. Is obviously set up for a Runcam Mini Swift, one of those tiny little ones to sit in the nose. So that's a curiosity. Or you get the option of a block of foam, which, yeah, I need to have a play with both ways to see if a Runcam Mini Swift is going to be the best option in the nose. Or maybe, thinking about it, I've got a normal size Runcam Swift in the bag, in the box at the moment, which is also black, which would kind of suit in with the rest of the model, although it is an NTSC one. But anyway, I will have a play with that. Look out for a couple of photographs about this one in the Facebook group later this morning. Yeah, a few little minor bits picked up. Oh, one thing which I really don't like, is that there's the fins. So you get the nice fins on there. Now, on the original Hornet, you had foam fins on the side. Now, that was one of the biggest features or like identifiers of the Hornet wing, was the little fuselage section which you had, which is stayed on this one. But on the normal Hornet was that you had nice big fins on either wing. Now Rob's gone for these ones with some little funny thing on the side, and I don't like that, because that's not going to look, it's all flexy, it's not going to last 2 minutes. So I might just throw those away, or stick them to one side and cut out my own. Because for me, the Hornet wing was one of those models which had really big fins on either side. It really did help it stand out. And it probably would need a little carbon rod just down top and bottom, just to make sure it stays in place and stays vertical over time. That was the other issue with the original one, was that because they were made out of EPP foam, is that you would genuinely rip off the half the bottom if you've not put enough E6000 glue on it. So yeah, Hornet 2 wing, not even out yet, to say the least. Yeah, a couple of minor points which need to be tweaked on it. There's things which I'm going to do and leave as is, and there's definitely things which I'm going to tweak before it gets thrown. But I am really kind of looking forward to that one now, because the original Hornet was so good. I really want the Hornet 2, in inverted commas, to be better, or at least just be as good, or someone close to that, as the original Hornet. So yeah, looking forward to that one. It's going to be a bit of a challenge, I think, because the bar is set so bloody high on the original Hornet. And I'll put a link to the original Hornet, or that video which I mentioned a few minutes ago. I'll put that back on the screen. I'll put a link to that video, or just look it up on my YouTube channel. It's the best summer FPV flying wing for 2017. Oh, we also talk about that diversity receiver in that video. Still using it today. Absolutely brilliant. Never upgraded the software on it. Still works. Who knew? Anyway, not been keeping an eye on your chat this morning. Good morning, by the way. Right, let's get into topic number 2. Number 2 is... Oh, there's the Hornet wing, 25 quid. That was the other reason why I really liked it, because it was only 25 quid. Right, let's get into the other topic. FrSky. As many of you know, FrSky have been and released a new transmitter that comes in 2 different colours, red and black, and they use really stupid batteries, which are the 18500s, not 18650s, which are extremely common and readily available, even in retail stores now. No, FrSky chose 18500s, which are rare as rocking horse poop, and it's a great little transmitter model. Very, very cute. Going to suit the kids fantastically well. I know I was in a quiz and Abby over it a couple of days ago and said, would you look at on with a little transmitter like that? It's just like the Xbox controller. Yeah, Dad. Brilliant. The issue is FrSky have managed to drop a huge bollock, because me, as apparently I'm not the only person on this one, bought the, was going to get the, or other people have bought it expecting it to be working, but you can't actually do it. There's no trainer function available in the X Lite at the moment. So they've been and released a transmitter which is basically based upon a games console format, and kind of forgot the potential ideal market, which is kids, which parents might want to teach them how to fly using the trainer option, but there's no trainer port, and the wireless function doesn't actually exist, which is extremely frustrating. So looks like we're going to have to go down the QX7 route, which is not really ideal for somebody with much smaller hands. because it is that the QX is actually quite a bulky transmitter, if that makes sense. It's quite big around the sides, especially if you've got very, very small hands. So, yeah, frankly, really disappointed there, FrSky, because it's the second fuck up which they've had, because we had the R9 fiasco, where they couldn't even include the right antennas in there, and that kind of put me completely off the R9 technology, completely. So that was the end of that. So in the moment, I'm still waiting for the Crossfire transmitter to turn up. So we'll be looking at Crossfire shortly. And now they bring out a brand new transmitter, and they kind of alienate what I would class as one of their primary markets. So that is a bit disappointing, and this wouldn't happen in a normal environment, because the RC hobby is so niche. They can get away with stuff like this. It's kind of crazy that, because like, who's the main competitor? Spectrum. How good is Spectrum? Exactly. So they've only got to be just better than the nearest competitor, and unfortunately, the nearest competitor might be classed as not that fantastic. But obviously, you might have different views to me. But at least you can see the point is that when there's very poor competition out there, you can release not very good products. Fat Shark is another primary example, as that one is as well. It's very peculiar looking at this very small niche in the world for RC products, and when it does get specialised, and when there are not very good premium competitors kicking around, is that there is some big laps and balls being dropped out there. So yeah, last week we were chatting about the fan, weren't we, on the Fat Sharks, and yeah, I don't buy what was being discussed in the factory. It was more just reaping the rewards out of the model, the molds which they've got. I think that basically summarised with Fat Shark. As you can tell, this channel is not sponsored by FrSky, and it's certainly not sponsored by Fat Shark. Right, it's time for me to get to shout out corner. Let me move across to the screen. I'm going to pause for a moment and take a quick slurp. And this is where I get a chance to say good morning to you. If you are on the live version, do us a favour, in the chat box on the right hand side of the screen, type in Heidi and I'll give you a shout out this morning. So good morning Lauren, good morning Daryl, I hope you got that on camera by the way. Good morning Henry too, good morning Steve, good morning Thumbs FPV, Austin good morning, Steve good morning, Killer Dave good morning too. Scrolling down, who have I missed? Alistair, good morning. Leds, you've managed. You got the notification this morning. Happy days. Oh, that must be so frustrating. Moving on. Sipler, good morning. James, good morning. Joan and Sundry, good morning. And I think that's been uncovered. Everybody. Oh, Cara, good morning. Elijah, good morning too. Now, obviously, if I missed your name, please, it's not personal. I've just missed it as I've scrolled down the list here this morning. Right. Let's get into topic number 2. Now, topic number 3. Like I said, this week's going to be quite quick because I've really not done much at all here in the last week or so. And good morning, Mark and Doug. Good morning as well. Just saw a few more squeeze in there on the chat on the other screen. Like I said, I've really not done a lot at all in the last week or so. Give you a heads up, I do have some upcoming videos. We have the Stinger Maiden video. If you've not seen it yet, there was put a video out a couple of days ago on the onboard footage. I took off the canopy. We put I put the run cam on the nose, and we had a spin around with the Stinger 64. Genuinely, really impressed with the Stinger 64. I've had other EDF models. I've seen other EDF models as well. They are known to absolutely muller batteries and have like 2 minutes flight time and be really noisy and terrible in many different ways. And the Stinger is not that at all. It's a 12-bladed fan. It's really quiet. You get a decent like 5-minute flight time. Yes, it's got a few minor niggles in it. I'll cover those in the actual review itself. But yeah, genuinely impressed by that one. I didn't have much hope for it, to be honest. It being in the EDF, I thought it was just going to absolutely muller batteries and have no torque in it, no speed at all, and it was none of that. It really does fly fast and on the flight line. My niggles with it are minor, for example, some of the leads needed to be longer, and we need some black lines underneath the model so that when we're inverted, especially flying against like a grey skyline, which we've unfortunately had far too much here in the UK, you can actually work out where the bloody model is, because it's one of those very thin profile wings. And surprisingly, the model, which the fuselage is very big, but once you get it inverted and you're looking at the bottom in the sky, you can't even see it. You really can't. It just disappears. And it's quite disconcerting. So it'll be very much like the Excalibur. I will put some black lines along the bottom just to get the orientation, especially when we're inverted as well. Oh yes, and Zenith, I didn't mention Futaba. I thought they were done and dusted, but let's not even go there on that one, to say the least. And Jeff, you have a lot to answer for. Right, moving on to the next topic. Next topic is that we have, is it 2 new models? Yes, we have 2 new models turning up from Right Wing RC. Like I said, back at the beginning, it did feel like the beginning of the year was a very slow start. There was not very much foam kicking around, or new foam at least, or even existing foam which was worth visiting or even revisiting, to be frankly honest. And then I was thinking to myself about a couple of weeks back, thinking we've not really had much new here, to be honest. We've had a few models, but nothing special. And then I'm sat here this morning with you going, I've got a Hornet 2 here, which is going to be happy days, right next to me. And I've got 2 models from Right Wing going to be here today. So it's gone from like really, really slow to almost a splurge of new foam. I genuinely don't think I'm going to get the Right Wing models out for the weekend, because that's cutting it a bit fine. We'll be on Wednesday today. We're supposed to be sloped on tomorrow night, and then flying Friday, and then flying Sunday. So it's cutting a bit fine. It's going to be 50-50 even if I get the Hornet wing sorted, because you know me, I got to work. I enjoy what I do. Yeah, I frankly would rather be flying than sat at the workbench building stuff. And that's just the way I am. I know other people, some people like the build stage, some people like the design stage. For me, I just prefer the fly stuff. For me, the build stage is an awkward part, which is just part of the hobby for me. And I just try and get it over and done with as quickly as possible. I'm trying to do it at a really high level where I'm happy with the actual build itself. And then once it's done, that's great, let's go and fly it. And then if I have to repair it, I have to repair it because I've had fun. But the build stage for me, I really just don't like. And I've now got at least three models waiting to get built now as of today. So look out some photos both on Instagram. I'll put links to that in the video description, and also over in the Facebook group later this morning. So as they come in, and I'll get some photos up of the Hornet wing as well this morning. Now, I want to be absolutely clear with you. The Hornet 2 wing, which I've got here, that is a pre-production model, and it's here for my review, if that makes sense, for me to take a look at. It's like a development model, and it's great because I can look you in the face and go, actually, I can tell you it's a production model, and then it's a pre-production model, and I can tell you there's some things which I really don't like, and hopefully these things get fed back in, so when the kit does get made available, that those things are available to you, and you don't have to go through these bits. So like those winglets, I really don't like. I really just don't like at all. Right, moving on. The last topic for this morning is actually Jeff's fault. I don't know if you've seen this video yet. I will put a link to this in the chat in the description afterwards. And I wonder if it's... Oh, yeah, it'll work in the chat as well. I'm just putting a link just up there as well to the video. I was watching that one. I was in bed last night. Like, oh, I want to go to sleep. What can I watch? And then it came up as a related video. And a Rattler and a Desert Fox. So the Desert Fox is the one in the background, which has got a frame over the top of it. But actually, I really like the Rattler. I know the Rattler got... Jeff absolutely mullered it into a rock and broke the suspension arm. And that might have put people off. But actually, that was the one which I quite liked the most. And then Jeff dropped the note that you can actually fly it on FrSky. So in my shopping cart on Hobby King right now is one of those and a collection of spare parts and a couple of... Well, The thing which I need to sort out this morning is the couple of battery packs, because they take the big square, long rectangular, big 5200, like 5000 2S packs with the funny connectors on. I'm sure if you're into RC cars, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm into RC model airplanes, and that is exactly not what I'm talking about and what I'm used to. So I also need to get a couple of battery packs as well. Also, I'll get the ready to run kit, which has got the little twisty doodah on. Not really a fan of the twisty doodahs. I've always been a stick person, so we'll see how that holds out. And if it's shit, then we'll throw that in the bin, and I will stick an FrSky receiver in it and go for a normal transmitter, because that just feels better to me personally. So look out for a little unboxing of one of those in a very short future. I will get that purchased this morning. What time is it now? It's 6:25. So by 7 o'clock I will get those things in the cart and purchased, on the fingers crossed that it might be with me tomorrow, so that when I'm home on Saturday I can go out and give it a damn good spanking. But I'm also very much a realist. I will buy spare parts, because if I've not broken something within a battery or two, then I'm probably not driving it hard enough. So we'll see. It looks like they've got lots of spares. So thanks, Jeff, for that one, and appreciate the chat last night as well, because I just genuinely didn't know which battery packs to go for, so I appreciate the suggestions on that one as well. Yeah, super fun, looking forward to that. Good morning, Tasty Gold, as well. Good morning, Andrew, and by the way, good morning, James, as well. You can see the chat going at the moment, which is above my head. Someone says, oh, that was Andrew. You haven't seen Matt drive yet then? No, you've not seen Matt drive a remote control car. If you think I don't have much respect for foam, you wait till you see how much respect I have for plastic, and I can assure you it's not a lot. Right, it's time for us to wrap up the topics which we've been and covered here this morning. At the Hornet 2, the bar is so bloody high. I love my little Hornet wing. Hornet 2, it's got to be somewhere close to that. Otherwise, Matty's not going to be that happy. So just give you aware, that one is not available to sell. That was one which I've actually bought after a conversation with Rob at Flying Wings. And we've got it here so that we can take a look at it before it hits production for you. So I can already see there's a few minor tweaks which are required. And I'll do my best, fingers crossed, to get it ready for the weekend. But we are very, very much strapped for time, because like I said, slope soaring night on Thursday, flying Friday, day off Saturday, flying Sunday. It's amazing where the time flies. I'm really looking forward to this weekend. I've not flown for 2 weeks now, and then we've got 3 days back to back. It's going to be one of those chilled out weekends. I'm really looking forward to it. We also spoke about the X-Lite. They've kind of dropped a bit of a ball when it comes to the wireless training function, because would that not be part of their, obviously drone pilots, or multi-rotor pilots would be a target audience, but also kids, and they've kind of neglected the wireless function. Maybe they'll release a module later. We had that discussion, is that in a specialist market, when there's only 1 or 2 people in the market and one of the other people are not actually that great, you can get away with stuff like this. It's just nuts. Anyway, we spoke about new foam. We've got some right-wing RC foam turning up today. I will get some photos as soon up on Instagram and Facebook as soon as it's been arrived. Give you a heads up, that'll be around about 9 o'clock this morning at the latest, because Gavin from Parcel Force is a top man, and we are one of the first deliveries in his route. Happy days. We do have a Stinger Maiden, a FunnyFarm episode 2 to come out as well. Oh, and the Rapid unboxing as well, the Dining Rapid, which Matty managed to land quite quickly. Is going to be out very shortly. We got the Prime Jet Poo, which I'm not even going to go over there and get. That one will get finished eventually. It's got no electronicals in it yet. And the missus has had to hack it to pieces to put it together, which is great because the instructions are fantastic. Yeah, she was in quite a peculiar mood yesterday when she was hacking it apart. Yeah, you think you've heard language from me? Nah, you've not heard language from me at all. You should hear what comes out of the missus's pie hole. Anyway, it's time for me to go. I would like to say a massive thank you to you for taking the time to join me for a quick chat about what's been going on here with RC in the last couple of days or so, which to be honest hasn't been a great deal, but this weekend will completely change things. So let's pause for a moment, quick sip of coffee. Let's have a quick. Oh, Jeff's also said. By the way, you've seen the chat, which is going down the other side of the screen. On there, Jeff says the Desert Fox can also run the 3S. I kind of didn't really like the look of it, to be honest, Jeff. Also getting in there with the battery, I've not really for me. Good point though, Jeff. And that's it. It is time for me to go. I have the Basher Berserker Bash on 4S, so I've just saw Zenith's comment, which is right up there somewhere. I'll get that wrong that time. Anyway, I've just been and bought it because it was only like 145 quid, because I kept looking at other models which were 500 quid, and so my bar was set up really high here at 500 quid, and then I've seen that one for 145 quid plus a couple of batteries, so I'll be in by 250 quid. So I'm only halfway in, so I can have two of those for the price of one of the other ones which I was thinking of buying, which is happy days. And it's not a rock crawler, it's mental. That one, it looks like it's going to be right up my street. Like I said, if it lasts me more than one, two, or maybe three batteries, I will be genuinely surprised, to say the least, because I have even less respect for plastic as what I do for foam. Anyway, it's time for me to go. On that note, if you are out flying today, please stick a battery in for me, because I'm getting withdrawal symptoms because I've not been flying for the last 2 weeks or so, and it's doing my treeing now. I really want tomorrow to hurry up so I can go and do some slope sawing. I'm really looking forward to that. The wind direction's looking good. The weather's looking great as well. And it's going to be a really nice drive down to the slope, and I'm really genuinely looking forward to it. And of course then we've got a flying day Friday, and then we're also out on the weekend. So yeah, if you're out today, please stick a battery in for me. That would be really appreciated. And on that note, it is time for me to go. Thank you very much for joining me for this RC Coffee Chat, and I'll see you same time next week. And on that note, time for me to go. Oh, shameless plug. If you have anything which you would like to discuss about which you've seen here in today's RC Coffee Chat, don't forget there's a link to the the Rag the Nuts Off FaceBalls group. There's a link to that in the video description. And that, remember, that group was originally created to continue the RC Coffee Chats on further. We're outside of every Wednesday, in short. So it's nice because you can share videos, you can share questions, and you can also share pictures with now literally over 2,600 cool pilots like me and you, which is absolutely crazy. So shameless plug for the FaceBalls group, and I really am going now. On that note, for myself, Matt, happy flying, cheerios.